All right, let's dive into one of the most maddening but also totally fascinating puzzles in all of logic. It's called the unexpected hanging paradox. So, what's it all about? Well, at its heart, it asks a really simple but kind of profound question. Can you actually guarantee a surprise? Like, can you set up a situation where something is definitely going to happen, but it's also impossible to predict when? That's the logical trap we're about to walk right into.
Okay, so our story kicks off with a classic setup, a judge and a prisoner. It's a Saturday, and the judge is handing down a sentence. But this isn't just any old sentence. Nope. This one's more like a riddle wrapped up in a death warrant. The judge says you will be hanged one day next week, but the day of the hanging will be a surprise. You will not be able to deduce the evening before that the hanging will occur the following day. So let's just break that down. He's making two promises, right? First, you are getting hanged next week. That part's certain. But second, the day it happens, it's going to be a complete surprise. You won't see it coming. Simple enough, you think? So let's be super clear. We've got two conditions, and they're non-negotiable. Number one, the hanging is definitely 100% happening next week, sometime between Monday and Friday. Number two, the surprise isn't just a side note, it's a mandatory part of the sentence. Both of those things have to be true for the sentence to be carried out. Now, this prisoner, he's a pretty smart cookie, a real logician. He goes back to his cell, and instead of panicking, he just starts to think. He takes the judge's own words and starts to pick them apart, piece by piece, looking for a way out. And he thinks he's found one, a logical escape hatch. So here's the layout of his week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 5 possible days. His strategy? He's going to work backward from the end of the week, and he's going to use that surprise rule as his main weapon. Okay, so first he looks at Friday. He thinks to himself, all right, let's say we get all the way to Thursday evening and I'm still alive. Well, the judge said I have to be hanged this week. The only day left is Friday. But wait, if I know on Thursday night that it has to be Friday, then it's not a surprise anymore, is it? That breaks the judge's second rule. So boom, he decides the hanging can't be on Friday. He crosses it off the list. Okay, so Friday is gone. Now the last possible day is Thursday. But you see where this is going, right? The exact same logic kicks in. If he makes it to Wednesday night and Friday's already out, then the hanging has to be on Thursday. But again, that wouldn't be a surprise. So Thursday's out too. And this is where the dominoes really start to fall. That same logic just keeps rolling backward. He rules out Wednesday, then Tuesday, and then, you guessed it, even Monday. By working his way back from the end, he's basically proven, at least to himself, that a surprise hanging is impossible on any day of the week. So the prisoner, he just sits back, totally convinced he's cracked it. He's proven that the judge's sentence is a complete contradiction. I mean, if it can't happen on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, well then it just can't happen at all. He thinks he's free and clear. So he's feeling pretty good about himself, totally confident in his perfect logic. Monday comes and goes. Nothing. Tuesday comes and goes, still nothing. With every day that passes, he's probably thinking, see, I was right. Then Wednesday morning rolls around, and the cell door swings open. Standing there, the executor. And here is the absolute kicker. The prisoner is genuinely, totally surprised. Which means the judge was right. Both conditions were met. The hanging happened, and it was a surprise. So, what just happened? How is that possible? Where did his perfect, ironclad, step-by-step logic go wrong? All right, this is where the real fun begins. I mean, logicians and philosophers have been tearing their hair out over this for decades. So let's play detective and look at the main theories that try to explain where the prisoner's beautiful logic just completely slammed into the wall of reality. We've got 3 key suspects for what went wrong here. First up is the knowledge problem. Basically, what did the prisoner really know? Second is the self-reference trap, which is a nasty kind of logical loop. And third is this idea that maybe, just maybe, pure logic and the real world aren't always on speaking terms. Okay, so the first theory, it's a bit of a mind bender. It basically says the prisoner's logic eats itself. Think about it. His entire proof only works if he starts by believing the judge's statement is 100% true. But what's his conclusion?
His conclusion is that the judge's statement can't be true. The moment he proves to himself the hanging is impossible, he destroys the foundation of his own argument. And that leaves him wide open to be surprised. It's like he's sawing off the very branch he's sitting on.
All right, suspect number 2 is all about self-reference. This gets a little trippy. The judge's sentence is about what the prisoner will know in the future, but the prisoner's knowledge is based on the judge's sentence. You see the loop? It's like a snake eating its own tail. The logic just spins around in circles because the system is trying to describe itself. It's like trying to see the back of your own head without a mirror. You can't quite get there.
And then there's our third possibility, which is a bit more philosophical. It says, hey, maybe the prisoner's logic was flawless, perfectly valid, airtight, but only in the clean, abstract world of pure logic. The real world, though, it doesn't have to play by those rules. The reality is, an executioner was scheduled for Wednesday, and he was going to show up no matter what clever deductions the prisoner made in his cell. So you might be thinking, okay, fun puzzle, but why does it matter? Well, because it's so much more than just a brain teaser. It shines a really bright and kind of unsettling light on the limits of our own logic, especially when we try to reason about the future based on what we think we know right now.
If there's one big lesson to take away from this, it's this. Trying to reason about your own future knowledge is a seriously tricky game. The very act of thinking about the future can actually change it, or at least change your relationship to it. It can lead you to conclusions that reality is more than happy to just, well, ignore. It's a huge warning sign about the limits of logic when you apply it to messy, complicated, self-aware systems like people.
And, this paradox isn't some lonely oddball. It's part of a whole family of famous mind-bending puzzles. Things like the liar paradox, this statement is false, or even Gödel's incompleteness theorems. They all get their power from that same weird, loopy, self-referential thing where a system tries to talk about itself. So let me leave you with this. Imagine your professor says, all right, everyone, there's going to be a surprise quiz one day next week. Now, after everything we've just gone through, what do you do? Do you use the prisoner's logic, prove to yourself the quiz can't happen, and just kick back and relax? Or do you study every single night just in case? What does this whole thing really teach us about logic versus reality?